How are we doing? It's Monday, March 29th. We got some coffee, Jesus. We're good this morning. Hey, so we're in Holy Week. So we're in the coveted week for believers. So I want to talk a little bit and kind of go through Holy Week and just kind of talk about what happened, because everything kind of started yesterday. Okay, yesterday was Palm Sunday. So, and the star of the show all through Holy Week is Jesus, because Jesus was going into the final week of his life here on earth. He was in control of every movement and did everything that he did willingly. Why? For you. For me. He did everything. He knew what he was up against. And every step of the way, he knew there was still prophecies yet to be fulfilled. So the donkey is actually a prophecy. Okay, and I'll talk about the donkey in a little bit more in a minute. But the donkey was a fulfillment of a prophecy. Okay, it was a fulfillment of the prophecy in the book of Zechariah, who Zechariah is a prophet, one of the prophets in the Old Testament. So hundreds and hundreds of years before it had been written that, and I'll kind of read you the verse. But I'm going to read through a little bit of Matthew, book of Matthew 21. I'm going to read through 1 through 5, which kind of talks about this triumphant entry into Jerusalem, because that's really what happened with Palm Sunday, is Jesus went into Jerusalem to go face his accusers. So now when they drew near Jerusalem and came to Bethphage at the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent 2 disciples, saying to them, go into the village opposite you, and immediately you will find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Loose them and bring them to me. And if anyone says anything to you, you shall say, the Lord has need of them. And immediately he will send them. All this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, tell the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, lowly and sitting on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. So Jesus was fulfilling that prophecy. Okay, so he sends his disciples ahead to tell them, go get that colt, because he's going to be riding in on a donkey. Why a donkey? Of all things, why a donkey? We think of a donkey, we don't think of anything, high and mighty, worthy of a king. But actually, a donkey was an animal a king would ride and was a royal animal. But royal in a time of peace, not right before a war is about to break out. When they say a war, I'm not thinking, a war, but you're talking about a holy war that was about to happen. Jesus was about to go into the biggest battle of his life on earth. And that was his final week, where he was going to be crucified and spill his crimson spill over us and for us. So you think of kings that ride in right before a battle, and they're riding in on a horse. They're riding in on this powerful horse. Jesus rode in on a donkey. And he rode into the praises of all of his followers, all of his disciples who had seen him perform many, many miracles, water into wine, feeding of the 5,000 with a boy's lunch, the lame being healed, the blind being healed, Lazarus being raised from the dead after 4 days. So all of these disciples have seen all of these miracles, and they've seen Jesus do all of these things. And they were just praising his name. Shouts and joy and worship and praise. And the Pharisees actually told Jesus to tell him to rebuke his disciples, meaning tell them to be quiet, because this shouldn't be happening. You're not a God, so they shouldn't be doing this. That's why Jesus was being sought out, because of blasphemy. They thought that Jesus was blaspheming God by saying he was the Son of God, when in actuality, he was. So why the donkey? So these disciples go up and show total trust in Jesus, because they go up and they go to untie this donkey, and here out comes the owner going, "Why are you taking my donkey?" And what did they tell him? The Lord has need of it. Think about somebody walking into your driveway, jumping into your car, and as you go, "Where are you going?" The Lord has need of it. That's trust. And they trusted Jesus and when the owner asked him, "Where are you going with my donkey?" Jesus had fed them exactly what they needed to say. He knew exactly what was going to happen and exactly what needed to be said. It's trusting him, guys. Trusting him every step of the way. Because everything he's going through in this week, he's going through for us. And he's doing it willingly for us. He's going to spill his blood for us. He's going to save us from a life of torment. And let me kind of talk about, because I kind of left you guys with a cliffhanger on Friday, and I apologize. When I talked about non-believers having books brought out by God, when you get to the judgment seat, and so let me just tell you, one sin will be too much. If you are not a believer and you've not chosen to trust Jesus and accept Jesus into your life, when you die, when non-believers die, they get to heaven and they answer for all of their sins. Let me just give you a cliffhanger. One sin is too much. And you will perish. When I mean perish, I mean you will not have an everlasting life with your Savior. If you've not chosen to trust him, you will perish. You will go into the lake of fire. You will suffer a second death. First death is when your physical tent expires. The second death is a spiritual death. And that is when your spirit and your soul is cast into the lake of fire for eternity. So guys, when I implore you to come to Christ and know him, he's knocking. Come to him. Don't suffer that second death. I love you guys. Really, I do. I truly love you guys. Don't suffer that second death. You guys have a blessed day. So Palm Sunday. So I'll talk a little bit more through this week about Holy Week and about everything that Jesus has done right up until Sunday, when, spoiler alert, he's not left in the tomb. He's gone. And that is our celebration, is he has risen. He is alive. He left that tomb. He left that napkin in the tomb folded, saying, "I'm coming back." So I love you guys, and I'm coming back tomorrow morning. So you guys have a great day today.